All right, welcome back to episode 4, this free course on how to email college baseball coaches. So, the agenda of episode 4, we're going to be building the school list, and ideally the school list to get started. And this is where my 8th graders will start. We want a school list of about 15 to 20 schools. This is small for the 8th graders, the 9th graders, sometimes the very skeptical 10th graders that don't really feel like they're in the best position to email college coaches. Guys, it's not about who you are today, it's about who you're going to become, right? So to get started, 15 to 20 schools. That is all I need from you. And this is where you will start to understand a little bit of prep work is going to equate to so much more efficiency on the tail end. I think there's a phrase out there, an ounce of prep is worth a pound of post. You'll see why. So there are 4 levels of colleges, obviously. There's the D1, the D2s, the D3s, the JUCOs, and how do I know which schools to put on to my list, right? I always like to say fit is better than fantasy, guys. Your academic fit is going to make a lot more sense than just going to an LSU and riding the bench for 4 years, right? That doesn't make sense. Also, an athletic fit. Are you going to get that playing time at that respective university? Does the roster actually need you, or are you the 6th catcher in that draft class or that graduation class? If you're the 6th catcher, there's a lot of competition if you're a catcher only, right? The geographic side of things, guys. I was born in Maryland. I grew up a lot in Sarasota. There was a 0% chance I was probably mature enough to go to like a Stanford, which, by the way, they were in communication with me. Hawaii, though, like we actually got to play at University of Hawaii my junior year of high school or junior year of college. Really cool. We opened up the season there. But I could not travel that far away from my parents and feel comfortable, right? I was a very young teenager, right? I was actually young for my graduation class, but I just wasn't mature enough to like go that far away. I had family in Maryland. I had family in Florida. North Carolina made the most sense because it was right in between. I loved the East Coast. I was also looking at Rice, which is in Houston, Texas. That was about a 22-hour drive away. Basically, that's one thing that kind of drove me away from that decision. But also University of Virginia. Those were the 3 schools alongside with NC State that offered me. NC State just made the most sense, right? So what is this spreadsheet structure going to look like? So number 1, we need the school name on how we're going to say that in a sentence. We're going to need the coach's name, just the last name, the email address, and then a personalized sentence, and then ultimately the status after we send out these emails. So I'm going to give you a little bit of a live example. I'm going to pick maybe 2 or 3 real schools and then build it for you real time. Later, you're going to obviously do this yourself. So come along with me on this journey. And by the way, one thing that I forgot to mention, and this is a great nugget if you've come this far so far in this course, to save your template. So remember in, I think, episode 1 or episode 2, we went ahead and created and enabled that template. So now we want to save this as a template as everything's been filled out. So we go to templates, save draft as template, save as new template, and click save. It's quite literally that simple. So that way, if we exit out of that, no big deal. All we have to do now is to go to compose, click these 3 dots, templates, which now appears. If we didn't enable that, it wouldn't have appeared. And then now we're just going to insert that template. Easy peasy, right? So now what we're going to do, and give me actually just one moment, I'm going to open up the spreadsheet. All right, so this is the spreadsheet to reach out to these college coaches. And I'm going to give you a little bit more of a breakdown step by step on how to do this. So let's do it. So I'm going to actually just duplicate this. Actually, yeah, I'm going to duplicate this whole, make a copy. And what we're going to do here is we'll actually leave the first one because I think it's important to understand kind of the basis, right? If we're sending an email to NC State, and let's just say I am on the coaching staff. This is, just a random email address. If we wanted to, I can put Evan at, Mendoza.com. That is not my email address. And then the personalized sentence, right? This is actually, I've never coached multiple high school college baseball or multiple high level college baseball teams. And in 2015 contributed 60, like I didn't contribute to that, right? So what I want to do alongside with you guys is help you build this personalized sentence. And I have resources like how to write these personalized sentences for my students. Obviously, like I Love Your Campus is not a great example of how to reach out to these college coaches in a personalized manner, because we don't want these personalized sentences to be personalized to the university. For example, I saw Doak Field at Dale Park is getting renovations. Looks like a great place to play. That's not personalized to the coach. That's personalized to the university. At NC State, it's Doak Field at Dale Park. That is our stadium. And there are renovations, but that's not personalized to the coach by any means. So if we're sending it to Coach Mendoza, myself, again, we only need the last name in this sentence. How do we go about this? So let's walk through this actually together. So I'm gonna go ahead, Evan Mendoza, and this is quite literally the process that I would want you to do. Sometimes Evan Mendoza baseball. All right, so this is me. I'm 29 years old. You can see some pictures, cool stuff, right? You can go to like Wikipedia, and there I am. That's pretty cool. That is my birthday. Columbia national team, amateur career, Baltimore, Maryland. All this is accurate, right? If as a senior, yes, I was 7-2 with a .78 ERA, pretty insane. So what I would probably do is, okay, so rule 5, I'm seeing all this information. Okay, cool. I'm looking for like a career year, and what might be better, Wikipedia is okay. Baseball Reference is always my go-to if I'm trying to vet anybody on social media. Let's just be honest, guys. There's so many phonies. There's so much noise, right? At the end of the day, this is the best way to see who's real and who's not, right? So Baseball Reference is just a huge database, and if you've played any level of high level of baseball, it's going to appear. So as you can tell, a lot of years have appeared ever since I was 19 years old, almost 10 years of statistics being uploaded to this website, right? And if you played like 1 or 2 years of like indie ball, you're going to see like a couple of lines here, right? So what I would do here, and this is for those that are already familiar with Baseball Reference, I would look for like batting average. Okay, when did he have a monster year? Okay, cool. In 2017, 340. Dang, that was a cool year. Where was he? He was between 2017. He was between Peoria and State College. Okay, that was pretty solid. But also in 2018, he had a pretty monster year at 260 or 282. Okay, I actually like this year a lot better. It's going to bring back a lot of memories. Oh, what about 362 at NC State? Okay, cool. So almost 340 in 2017, Peoria and State College. Okay, cool. So now I'm going to remember those things, right? Got drafted by the Cardinals, went to the Padres. Okay, what can I do? I saw that you hit, 339 in 2017, right after you got drafted. You hit, I'm trying to think, right after you got drafted. Must have been a fun year between State College and Peoria. Bam. And that's exactly how I would personalize an email to myself, right? I, of course, know myself. I'm going to read that email. The very first thing I see is Dear Coach Mendoza. And then the next thing I see, Dear Coach Mendoza. The next thing I see is just putting myself back into one of my most memorable seasons that I ever played. I'm in a good mood after reading that, right? Because that was a really super fun year. Everything was clicking. And then I hope this email finds you well, and then we're getting right into it, right? So we're meeting them in a positive mindset at the end of the day, right? So let's keep going. So that's the personalized sentence. And the story that I wanted to share with you as far as Mike Schilt. He's, I actually just saw, I think maybe news that he got hired by the Baltimore Orioles as the manager. So he was the bench coach for Mike Matheny in 2017, and I think half of 2018. Before Matheny got fired, he got moved up to the interim manager, and he was a manager basically for the St. Louis Cardinals for about 3 or 4 years, and then he got sent over to the San Diego Padres. He was the bench coach under Bob Melvin for I think 1 year, and then became manager for maybe a couple of years, 2 or 3 years. I think he might be the manager of the Orioles now. I think it was a lot of speculation, so I don't know. The story goes, he was the bench coach in 2018. Right after I got drafted, I was at a step camp right before spring training, and he came up to me and he almost knew everything about me. He knew NC State. He knew Elliot Avent, my manager at NC State. He knew I was a pitcher and then transitioned to a third baseman. He had ties with North Carolina. He was, I think, not born. He might have been born in North Carolina, but he also, one of his first coaching positions was in either UNC Charlotte or maybe UNC Asheville. I can't remember. But again, me even not remembering, not a great look, right? But him remembering all these tiny little details about me, it just made me so impressed with, man, this guy is prepared. This guy gets it. He has no problem showcasing to me that he did his homework on me. And now I feel I'm unprepared. So he really set the tone on who he is and how he goes about his business. Why can we not do the same in our emails? When we're reaching out to these college coaches, it is very critical that we get that done, right? In some capacity. But let's go over to let's go Texas A and M. Okay. So again, we want to do that like we would say it in a sentence. We wouldn't necessarily want to do like TAMU. Like some people refer to it as TAMU, but Texas A&M just makes the most sense. So what we're going to do now is quite literally Texas A&M baseball. And from there, we can go to the roster. Jump to coaches. Okay, coaching staff. So here we go. We have Michael Early. We don't necessarily want to be emailing the head coach because the head coach is the head coach. There's a recruiting coordinator or an associate coach in charge of that. So we got Cliff. We got Caleb. Let's see. Associate head coach. I would assume Jason does some level of recruiting. So we're going to open up Jason. We have almost no information, it looks like, on him. All right, so he might be new to the university. Let's see Caleb. Again, almost no university data. Let's see what we got. We got Cliff. So some programs just simply do not give out any information. There are ways to get email accounts. I'm not going to necessarily share them. So like you can see right here, Jason Hutchins, Director of Baseball Operations. You could reach out to Jason Hutchins, right? Okay, we have pitching and player, hitting and catching, strength coach. So we wouldn't want to necessarily go strength coach. Let's just, for this example, we can do, I just want to make sure that he had some level of coaching staff, 20 seasons, camp director, was a pitcher. Okay, cool. So yeah, we're going to go ahead and grab Jason's email. We're just going to quite literally copy that. And now we're going to, where is our template right here? We're going to go ahead and paste that right there, just like that. No crazy formatting. And then Hutchins, just like that, right? No crazy formatting. We don't want to do like that based off of how we go about this. So now, Jason Hutchins, we can read this information right here, right? What I'd prefer doing, crafting that ourselves. So baseball. And then there we go, baseball reference. We found another one. So drafted by the Orioles. Cool. Let's look at his data. So a little bit smaller of, okay, so he's a pitcher. Looks like he was with New Haven. So this is the Eastern League. That might be, okay, so AA for Colorado. So he played with Colorado his whole career. Let's see, okay, ERA, innings pitched, 41 innings. Let's see, ERA. Where's ERA? ERA 2.59. Okay, his first season. That's not bad. Over 3. Okay, so 20. So when he was 23, 11 ERA, we probably want to stay away from that that year. This was 19 games. So what we want to probably say is like, in the Northwest League. What team was that? Yeah, in low A. So basically in low A, he had his best year with a 2.59 ERA. Struck out, 65, walked 24, so that's a decent ratio. So, we could just look up this real quick just because I'm not entirely sure. The Bend Rockies, that was in the Northwest, so that was in Oregon. So if I was writing a sentence, I saw that you got drafted by the Rockies and in your first short season had a 2.5 ERA. Must have been a fun season in Oregon, right? Similar style, different data, tells the story, right? We also, of course, always want to make sure it's the right person. Schools, we see Texas A&M right here, so we kind of know that this person actually, is the person that we just did a little bit of research on Texas A&M's website. So you guys get the idea of basically personalizing this, again, to the coach, not to the university, right? We want to personalize it to the coach. I'm going to say it like 4 more times, so you need to listen. You need to personalize it to the coach, not to the university. You saw how long that took, right? And I do want to bring up a pretty important point about volume, right? Because we want to do so much volume, it negates the luck of getting attention from college coaches. This is one of my students, by the way. He's done multiple batches, and he's done thorough research on all of these coaches where I'll go through this, but he has 153, because we start on one, 153 schools that have interacted with his emails, and I'll get into that in a second. But volume wins, but also strategic volume wins even better, right? So think about how long it really just took me to do that. Now, how long does it take either you or your son to, watch TV at night? Are we putting 30 minutes into TV? Are we putting in 30 minutes to play video games? Are we, scrolling on our phones for hours before bed? Or are we writing down maybe 10 new schools every single night? Because we can do 10 in probably like an hour, right? Especially when we start getting good at it, right? We get into the flow of things. So this is the important part of creating that list. So getting back into it, I just built that in real time for you guys. And I want you guys to keep watching because in episode 5, we're going to be sending out these emails without screwing it up.